Hey everyone, it's Jody Sutter of the Sutter Company, and it's Just Ask Jody Live. Welcome back to another episode. We had a little bit of a scheduling thing happen, and normally I am coming to you live on LinkedIn at 1 p.m. Eastern. Today I'm coming to you live at 2 p.m. Eastern. I hope you folks who signed up were able to be here, and those of you who wanted to be with us live to join the conversation got that message. I think the actual event in LinkedIn was scheduled for the right time, but regardless, is being recorded, and you'll be able to see this recorded if you're not joining us live. If you are, just a couple of reminders before we get started with my guest. You are able to join the conversation by submitting a comment. So if you're here watching us live and you'd like to talk with me and my guest, Lissa Blackaby Forsterer, about outbound prospecting for agency new business, because it's a big topic, and I think it's one that a lot of agency leaders have a lot of questions about. So please do that. I always come prepared with great questions, and my guest and I always have a ton to talk about. But it makes such a difference when you guys are asking the questions, and I will always default to those. Let's see, a couple of other things I want to share with you. Just a reminder that the enrollment for the Build, Win, Scale Accelerator is back open. I feel like the word uncertainty is making a big comeback here. It got very popular during the COVID days, and there's so many things happening in our world that are weird that uncertainty is now kind of a part of our daily life. And I think that it's all the more reason and all the more value in having a new business approach, a new business operating system that works for you, a go-to plan that you can go back to consistently, that is going to produce repeatable, reliable results. So go ahead, scan this QR code, or just email me at jody@thesuttercompany, or DM me on LinkedIn, and let's talk. If you're interested in joining this program, I would love to tell you more about it. All right, so let me go ahead and give you a little bit of a quick intro to who my guest is, if you're not already familiar with her. It's Lissa Blackaby Forsterer. Now, I'm going to read her bio, so pardon me for reading on screen, but I want to make sure I get it right because it's a charming bio. So Lissa is the founder of a firm called Cheerful Persistency. What a great name, right? Cheerful Persistency is a biz dev consultancy. It was born from her years of leading growth at small, independent creative agencies. So she and I serve the same type of clients. She helps agency leaders like you build consistent relationship-driven pipelines through strategic coaching and done-for-you LinkedIn outreach without cold tactics or burnout. So, hi, Lissa. Let me just make sure. Yeah, you are.
There we are. Hi.
Hi. Nice to see you, and thank you very much. And thank you also for rolling with the punches as far as the whole scheduling thing goes.
Oh, that's fine. I love it. Like, this is real life, man. This is all good.
Absolutely.
Be flexible. Yes. I know. And there's noise outside my window too, which is not scheduled. So, it's just life. It's all good.
Is anything good happening up there? Is there something dramatic?
There's a lot more happening. So,
yeah, it's that time of year. Yeah,
we will have
the dreaded leaf blowers here soon. We could have another episode on how much I personally hate leaf blowers. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
So Lissa, you've been running Cheerful Persistency for a bunch of years now. And before, as we were sort of warming up backstage before we went live, one of the things you were talking about is the difference of your background from a lot of other agency business development people, and just the your legacy with smaller agencies. Tell me a little bit about how that has shaped you as a business development person.
Yeah, no, I know. I love that conversation too. And I think I've realized it as I've gotten to know other agency owners and biz dev people around the US. I'm in Portland, Oregon, so I'm West Coast based. I've been client services, biz dev since 2000, and always for small, creative, indie agencies. And so I work with agencies where, in Portland, we have Nike, and we have actually Intel has the largest campus here, but all the tech companies on the West Coast. So those are kind of my worlds. But there's a ton of these little agencies that have done millions of dollars a year revenue with Fortune 500 brands that have never talked to a search consultant in their life, and then were never an AOR media, advertising agency. So my space is that project-based, you do 1,000 different things that adds up to $10 million a year or whatever for the clients. And that being said, the way that work happens, it's all relationship. You are reaching out to the contacts at the brands that are not the CMO necessarily. They're down a level or two, but they have budgets. They're needing creative and marketing support and help. And so you're doing similar work. It's just for maybe not the top tier stuff. A lot of enterprise companies will call it below the line.
Yeah.
And so that was my world. My world was, you need to go get to know all the people that are not the CMO, basically, and make sure that they're aware of who we are and who the agency is. And if you need help with X, Y, or Z, whatever that particular thing is that we did well, keep us in mind. And that was how I led client services teams and biz dev teams for years to grow and have these really successful agencies. That was our world. It was very different than being brought in by a consultant. So it's my approach to biz dev comes from that place. It comes from what I have done.
And I think, what I think is hopefully resonant to the folks that watch this is this idea of, first of all, it was relationship based, not necessarily driven by search consultants. Because I think most small agencies, you know a lot of search consultants. I know a lot of search consultants. And yes, they can be they're a totally valid conduit to potential.
Absolutely.
However, if you're a smaller agency, their bandwidth is limited. It's really hard for you to actively be on their radar, whether they want you on your radar or not. It's really hard to sort of get on their radar. And that's why I always think, like, control your own destiny. Understand who your client is, reach out to them first. And then often the search consultants may find you if you're very clear about the kind of problem you solve, and that problem is something acute for your clients.
Yeah. And so, and my world too, and where I think a lot of agency owners today and clients that I work with, especially folks that have left the bigger holdco companies and have started their own agencies, where you weren't just on the Coke account or the Pepsi account. Like, you're now working on a project basis with brands and trying to build your agency, and the path to do that is different than what no one's taught them how to do that. And so a part of what I love when I meet new agency owners that haven't been in the space of where we have been just by relationship, driven intention, gotten work. And so the way, of getting that strategy and a plan around, okay, who do I want to work with, first of all?
Yeah.
Who do I have a right to work with? Because based on what we've done for other clients, and then how do you proactively reach out and start that conversation? That's the space that I live in and I love. Yeah. And it's the scariest space for most people because they feel like it's too salesy or I'm being too desperate or whatever. And it doesn't have to be that way. It comes down to the words you use. And it comes down to also being disciplined on tracking and managing. Like, it's not sexy, but it's like having a list of people that you are nurturing a relationship with and being consistent.
Yeah.
That is rubber meets the road right there. It's just, if you do that with the right words, with the right stories to tell of how you've helped others like them, because that's all they care about. Hey, have you helped someone in my job do that really hard thing, like the new product launch or the new activation at the whatever? Like, it's all about them and how you're going to help them. Yeah. That's how agencies need to go into the conversation versus barfing out everything about the agency on the first. It's like the first date. Like, let me just brief you on my bio. No one gives a shit because they don't know you yet. So the way you nurture a relationship is a very prospect first. The way I do it and the way I teach people to do it and do it for them is, it's all about the prospect and the person first. You don't even talk about the agency until perhaps a few conversations in, quite honestly.
Yes. So leading with the problem that the prospect is grappling with.
Yes.
I also feel like that. I even have a quote. I'm not even sure who said it, but it's something like what I've seen to be true as well is that if you can express the prospect's problem as well or sometimes better than they can, they will automatically believe, they'll automatically develop some trust, some rapport with you and believe that you can solve that problem. not because you've said, oh, here are my services and here are the awards that I've won and my client list. It's because you've been able to articulate the stuff they're going through. And I think that's really interesting. And I'm not saying pull the wool over their eyes. Of course you shouldn't be. And you probably can express the problem unless you can solve it, but don't go to the solution first.
Exactly. Even a step before that, the approach I encourage folks to take is don't even assume what their problem is quite yet. Like in that initial nurturing of I call it get the first date to say hello. Get a call. The goal is to get a call to learn about them. And it's like that follow-up is then based on what you just heard and learned is a little bit more informed about what they might be like what the reality is in their job. And so it's almost like, and some clients get frustrated with me because they're like, I'm not moving fast enough. And I was like, but this isn't a fast process. Like to do it quality over quantity and do it right. Like we just want to get a call to say hello. Like
I want to go back to,
I
want to go back to something you said, and I think it's an interesting distinction. Because I think there is a distinction that I think you're drawing between what you have to, the message you have to deliver in order to get that first date, but you probably don't want to be talking too much. You don't want, but the difference between like leading with the problem, but also holding back on the solution. Talk to me a little bit more about like what that means and what that even looks like in terms of a message.
So the way I approach it is, again, it's the first just to get especially on LinkedIn, where LinkedIn is such an appropriate place right now to have business conversations. It is today. I don't know what's going to be next year, but whatever. But LinkedIn is where it can happen, and it's very appropriate to reach out and connect with someone. So just make that gentle. I would love to connect, and then the asking to learn, have a call to a virtual hello to learn more about their role. That is the language I use, and I use with my clients. That works really well to just get that call, and they kind of know you're probably sniffing around about something, but you don't know yet. And the thing is, what you learn is always so. I train folks how to have those calls too. Like, what is that 25-minute conversation? It's how are you? I would love to learn more. And you've looked at their profile. Maybe you saw something they posted recently. You've done some homework and you've done a little bio, a little research, a little sleuthing. But the trick is get them talking for 20 minutes. And then you'll learn so much. And what you learn is they're getting reorged. There's a new boss. They're getting divorced. They're getting a new job. They just have a product launch next week. What you learn in those calls is incredibly personal. From there is when you then pivot, Jody, to go say, okay, what's my specific next step? Like, what's the appropriate next step to say, let's continue the conversation? Because they always then will end up saying, oh my gosh, I've talked so much. What do you do?
Well, how deep am talking? What if they're like, yeah, well, you wanted this call. What do you want? Like, how do you,
I say, gosh, like how is it working at Adidas doing? Like, what's it like there? Or you have to have provocative questions that are very open-ended to get them talking. I have a whole list of them I could share with folks. And anybody wants, if you listen to this, I'm happy to send them to you. Your goal is my goal is to not talk in the call. My goal is to help them to talk. And so it's provocative. It's getting them to open up about, that's my, not trick, but that's just what I do.
Your approach. It's your approach.
It's my approach to, because I truly do know, because I also know the reality is whatever it looks like on LinkedIn, what they're doing is never usually exactly what's happening. Like I've learned that about people, like, as we all know, like, oh, you look so amazingly happy. Like actually behind the scenes, like it's a mess. So I just really, because I honestly go in with zero expectation of also, this is also what I coach and I believe is, go in with zero assumptions about anything because you don't know and you don't. And it's okay because even if the goal is to learn about them. And for them to learn a little bit about you and make a positive connection, because there's three things that are going to happen post-call. One, they want a part to it. Like, oh my gosh, I would love to talk to you more about, I do need help with this XYZ thing. Like, let's get a part two to talk more. And or might be like, I love learning about you. Like, I really don't, like, this isn't really what I do, but Bob, really should meet you. And I'll introduce you to Bob because Bob needs, like, oh my gosh, what you do is totally what he's been
Bob needs
with whatever. And then the third thing is you've just met a industry peer and network, and you're on there because still the reality, and I just had something happen the other day in a networking group I'm in where people just ask people for agency recommendations. They ask their friends and coworkers in the industry.
It's still the number one way marketers find
no
agencies.
magical, or people on the brand side, agencies confuse the hell out of them. They don't know exactly what all of us do. And so they'll ask.
I just want to have everyone hear that agencies can confuse the hell out of marketers.
Yeah, they do. And I've told
that.
Did
not hear that here for the first time, but it's still true.
My close people on the brand side, even they'll call me and go, Lisa, I need help with XYZ, like the most basic thing. Like, who do you recommend? I'm like, how do you not know? Like, here's like the top 5, and you probably worked with them in the past, and they just forget. So that's all that is going to happen after just having a good call with someone. And so I feel like for me, it's like the goal is to have a conversation and learn more with not knowing where it's going to go, but it's going to plant seeds or put energy into something in the future that will keep you top of mind for the right conversation. And you might meet them and go, they're a jackass, and I don't ever want to work with them. And you're like, fine.
That's true, too. You can qualify it on your own end.
Yeah. So, but
I want to go back to what you said also about not making assumptions. I will have to say, from my personal experience, when I was doing outreach for, on staff at agencies, yes, making assumptions was often the worst thing I could do. And like, they don't need me, or they've got their work is so beautiful, or they're working with such and such agency. Yep. And it was not that unusual when I could engage in a conversation with them that they'd say, yeah, we're really having branding help, or yes, the website shows this, but we're actually struggling with that. Or so don't make assumptions. Yeah. Be clear on the problem you solve.
Exactly.
And then they can decide whether it's a problem they need to solve.
And it may not be today. I always say, like, luck and timing. It's like, it could just be a moment in the future. And so that's back to kind of cheerful persistency and my approach to one of the fundamental, I think, things that are really hard to do and that I've had to train myself to do, and what I help agencies do, it's having the tenacity and consistency to be, you're tracking on who you're reaching out to and nurturing, and you're being consistent. And by consistent isn't every week, it can be once a month, but you are intentionally connecting with those prospects that you want to work with, and you're tracking it. And it does take 8 to 12 times to get a response nowadays. So it could be like, this is not a quick thing, but tracking that activity and being consistent and like looking every week to go, did I do my 20 follow-ups, my 30 follow-ups? Like that is where I work with clients. Like, that's where the rubber meets the road. It's like, did we do the things? Did we consistently do to finally get that conversation that educates you on what their world is and educates them a little bit on what you do? That's where then the work will fall out. Like, eventually they'll be like, I do want you to give me a bid on XYZ project or whatever.
What are any specifics around the best way to track it, tools or methodologies? Yes.
And I love me a Google spreadsheet, and I have a tracker tool I use with my clients. I've used CRMs. I love CRMs. Put it all in there too. Everything can go into that. All I care about, if you can, from your CRM, have every Monday, you have a list of like, here's all my follow-ups. However that gets created, and where you've like put someone out for 4 weeks follow-up, or you put someone out for 2 months later because they said check with me in June. However that gets done, whatever works best for you. I personally love me a spreadsheet, and I have it set up with little things that help me trigger and sort and compile like my to-dos for the week.
Okay.
So,
but do you keep your contacts in a spreadsheet, or do you draw the spreadsheet out of your CRM database?
It's a combination of both, to be honest with you. But the spreadsheet tends to be the priority of like what I'm really honing in on.
Okay.
So maybe it's like the 20% of everybody, but I'm honing in and I'm closer to and focused on. And again, for me with these small, like what I do and with my clients, we're not needing 1,000 new clients. We're needing 10 or 5 even. Like, they just need a few. And so I really encourage folks, don't overwhelm yourself. And it's okay to just be kind of working through 20 different people or 30 different people at a time.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little distracted. I've got Stephanie who asks if questions go right here. Yes, they do. And for some reason, I am not able to, there's like, I don't know, ghosts in the machine with StreamYard on LinkedIn today. I wasn't able to comment back. But yes, Stephanie, questions go right here. So ask away. Ask away. And yeah, in the meantime, I still have like a bunch of questions for you too, Lissa.
So back to that, though, like I always just say, whatever mechanism one uses, because I think CRMs are awesome. You need to like HubSpot or whatever. And you can do that with there. You can have your tasks. Like it's being really intentional around tracking your follow-up, outreach and follow-up. If you ever look at me on LinkedIn, you'll see me repeatedly talk about outreach and follow-up. And follow-up
your two favorite phrases. Yeah.
You have to be, that is really where, that's the consistency and that's the managing your touch points with those people. Because one and done doesn't work. You just have to be intentional about it. So
I'm with you. It's like, I love the callback date. And that is something that I have been doing probably since like my early days as a salesperson, is just, and even if you don't know, like a lot of times with people who I know there's not an immediate opportunity, or even like those friends, those warmer relationships.
Yeah,
it's like I'll put a callback date for 6 months, 9 months, and you know what? Sometimes also the 6 months will go by, and I'm like, just feels too early. I'm gonna postpone it for
and you can always you can always change it and tweak it, but it's just being intentional around having. And for me, I'm a visual person, so I like having the list. So I just like to know that I can look at something and go, and again, I might glean it and go, and move people and keep bumping them back out. Or I might check out what they're doing and realize they just changed jobs or something just happened or whatever. Like it's very much, it's not a perfect linear black and white process, but the intention of tracking is important.
Hey, here's Stephanie's question. Stephanie, that's okay. I'm going to show this. It's a little long, but Lissa, when you track touch points, do you only count outbound or chats?
Anything. I call all of them. Even if you've liked the post that they've posted on LinkedIn and you liked it, or you commented, or you sent a quick little in-mail or an email, all of those are little touch points. So whatever touch points where you kind of engaged, especially with social right now, there's so many ways I count. And I know it does seem like a lot.
No, and I agree too. And I think that that's one of the nice things also about LinkedIn, especially I will often do like a little bit of a 1-2 punch. I might send an email, and at the same time, I will go to their LinkedIn page and just see if there's anything recent that I can comment on. And it has to come from a place of authenticity.
Sincerity,
and currency too. I mean, there's some people who are better at keeping their LinkedIn page current than others. So if someone hasn't posted for 7 months, then I'm probably not going to comment on that 7-month-old post. But I think that also creates a sense of like, oh, there's Jody again, or there's Lissa again, or she just sent me an email. Oh, I should respond to
I will say something about that too. And it's an interesting, because I do track for my consultancy how I get my clients, like because I do a lot of, I have a huge network in Portland of people, and I'm involved in our agency community in the Northwest.
You're based in Portland, Oregon. I'm sure you mentioned that.
But I know I'm in Portland, Oregon. And however, I have used LinkedIn to intentionally build a network of agency owners or leaders, they're cold. They're cold. So I have a cold and warm outreach always going. The majority of my clients have come from cold. And I have referral and warm too, but
that's interesting.
It always surprises me because it just surprises me. But my point to that is kind of what we kind of want to talk about too. I think like outbound and like it's the words you use and the way you do it is how you make it work. And I think there's a gentleness about the words I use to connect with folks and be inquisitive about their world that. And my messaging, my name and my company, like it's a little, I will say, polarizing, and I like it because either people love it or they're like, oh my God, don't ever talk to me again. And that's fine. I'm like, because I am me. I'm from Oregon. I'm from a small town in Eastern Oregon. I'm a country girl. Like I'm very West Coast. Like I have a way about it that jives with some folks and doesn't. And my new clients, usually the first thing, a lot of times, once a week at least, I'll get a response that says, I get so many emails whatever, about support with sales or prospecting that I ignore, but yours, however, made me want to respond and talk to you.
Interesting. Stephanie says, because you're so well positioned.
Oh, Stephanie, you're so sweet. Well, and I will say my name and my company came from a client years ago who hadn't given our agency business in 2 years, but I would just always check in with her like every few months.
Yeah.
And she said, Lisa, you're just always so cheerfully persistent. You just check in, you ask how I am. Like, I'm not giving you work, but you just check in all the time. That was
let me ask you,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about that too. Because I think a lot of people, maybe they start to feel a little personally rejected, or if they haven't heard from a client or a prospect in 2 years, there's just the assumption that like, well, they have no desire to hear from us. So, I guess it's easy to say a mindset, but what, like, true or false? Should we take a 2-year gap and as a sign not to reach out?
I have a great story. So one, I think also sales, biz dev, whatever we want to call it, proactively going out and seeking clients for your company is what you're a business owner, right? That's okay to go do, and you need to be proactive. You can't just wait for the phone to ring and hope that someone saw your blog post and they're going to magically call you. So I also have people get over the fact that being proactive is not salesy or gross, or it's a necessity.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that and have a diversified network and conversations going on in the future, in Portland in particular, the last 2 years between Nike and Intel, the amount of reorgs and the way people have gone away. Agencies of 25 years that have been doing amazingly well had their entire client list walk out the door, and they were left flat-footed, and that's what makes me so sad. So that's why I so believe in take control of what we can, because we can't control so much. So proactive is good. You can do it in a way that's not sleazy, but and the fact that people don't respond, back to your question, doesn't mean they're not receiving it and hearing it. And my story around that is this. So when I was at Owen Jones, Nike was a client. And so I was prospecting around the footwear and apparel variety of other brands. So Wolverine Worldwide was one of those clusters of brands. I was sending and nurturing email sequences.
Wolverine, that's the umbrella for like
cat footwear, Merrill, I think Choka, like that. Yeah. So they're in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and knew nobody there at all. Knew no one. And this was like years ago, where LinkedIn wasn't where it was at now, where you could just be so like, oh, I'm going to email you or connect with you, and then instantly we can start chatting. So I was doing email, which, as we know now, works and doesn't because of spam filters. It's a little tricky, but I was doing email sequences back then, and was reaching out to all the senior marketing titles at all the brands under Wolverine Worldwide, and never heard a word back from anybody for months, like whatever. One day I'm actually leaving a Nike meeting and my phone rings, and I happen to just take the call because, I don't know why I took, whatever. People don't do that, or they do that now. And it was a woman from procurement for cat footwear. And she said, hey, we are running an agency review for cat footwear, and like John somebody who's VP whatever forwarded me your email, and you've been emailing him, and he really wants your agency included in this review. We're a little bit already into it, but would you be interested? And I said, absolutely.
He'd never responded to you.
Never responded to me. He'd forwarded it to procurement. And so I was like, yes. And she's like, great, I'm going to send you all the stuff. I'm like, here's where we're at. We got called back. Like we got called back to do the presentation. We were in the finals. We didn't get the business, but we got called back. But my point to that is, if I hadn't done any of that, they never would have. So I said, you never know. If you don't ask, no one can say no to you.
You're right. I also think one of the things you're saying too, and I've always thought this as well, that, outbound prospecting is really about selling, should say selling, because people don't like the S word. Outbound prospecting is about connecting one-to-one. However, I also think that, as you just said, there's also sort of a marketing function to it. There's that sort of
making them aware,
building awareness.
Awareness. And a lot of it is like, love what you're doing. Like, again, you've got a compliment, then you kind of link to relevant case studies. Like, there's a way you can send them stuff that's just, it's an awareness tactic. So you're not, it's not like, if you don't respond to my request for a meeting immediately, you're off my list. It's a nurture. It's a long-term, like, I'm just being gentle. Again, this was way before LinkedIn was where it's at now, because you do similar things on LinkedIn now, and you can do it so much more personally and differently, where it's quicker, I think, to get a conversation or get something going, whether it's a back and forth on an email versus a call. But you at least start to get educated.
Yeah,
and
I
you
think
start some type of conversation.
even though LinkedIn is, there's just a proliferation of terrible pitch messages. I think there's still, sort of an informality to it. It's like a little more like a text message,
Yeah.
and a willingness on the recipient's part just to sort of pay attention to what, for some
And
people at least.
And I think too, with what the last few years with the economy and the reorgs and layoffs and changes, I think people too, especially in our industry of marketing, advertising agencies, like having a network of relationships is important. And so even like I say, even beyond like project at hand to get work in the door right now, there is value in building a network. And then people want to do business with people they already know, like, and love and trust. And so you kind of, it's a multi-layered expectation, I guess, of like, and because I tell clients too, like, there's not an immediate solve for you not doing any prospecting for the last 5 years. Like if it was,
I think that's really,
like I would be done. But let's start now with what we can control, and our control is our actions and our outreach. And so I say,
I love that.
First thing I do is even encourage them to download their LinkedIn connections. Some people have been really good at building a network, some haven't. Doesn't matter. Let's start there. To just remind ourselves of people that you've forgotten were at roles that could be, or just those people that you knew in your past, like past clients, past coworkers. All I care about, get a short list of folks that you're going to reach out to start to just check in with and say hello, and starting the ball rolling.
And getting consistent and persistent. So we, believe it or not, this happens all the time. We are past the bottom of the hour, so we're over time. I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want to keep the folks who are on live too long. But I do have, I guess my final question is around is time, because I think that's one of the issues as well. An agency owner, part of it is, I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm exposing myself. I feel vulnerable. The other part of it is, I get it. I get everything I'm supposed to do. I understand intellectual understanding. I don't have the time. So I'm curious, what do you say when someone says that?
Well, that is exactly what I do for my clients. Is I manage the LinkedIn outreach for them, and that's via some software I use and manual. But either commit to just making the time and keeping it manageable, and just start small. Start with like 5 people, or again, there's tools out there you can use to help automate some things. But I think for smaller agencies too, like, don't get overwhelmed and just start with a short list of people and just start nurturing it. Just start.
I also think that, again, I'm totally biased, but I would say for a small agency, at my like 5 to 25 people, the agencies that we work with, I still think that the top leadership, the owner, the 2 partners or 3 partners, the founder, you're still the best business development resource the agency has.
100%.
And because of that, I would encourage first to also analyze, what are you doing that someone else can do? Because you're probably going to hire a project manager or an account manager or someone else, or even a marketing coordinator before you're hiring and can sustain and maintain a business development person. So what can you take off your plate?
Exactly. And I think now with the way just LinkedIn and the software we have, and have someone run it for you. So like I said, like when I work with clients, it's not me reaching out on behalf of their agency. Like, I'm running it as them. And so however you get someone on your team to help post the weekly post, do the 20 outreaches, like, just, you can have someone do that for you. But on behalf of you. But it's important to do it. And then once it gets into a real conversation, then you can jump in. Like, once it gets to be like, oh, I need to like get really, it's now nuanced for a specific, like, I need to respond differently. Do that. But I think committing to it, and again, making it be also having that accountability of a check-in, have that Friday 10 a.m. meeting where it's like, did we do our 30 to-dos this week? That is really critical. Because if you don't have to check in with anybody, you're not going to do it, myself included. My check-in for my business actually is my husband. That's great. It's me, myself, and I. He hears me all the time. And he's like, did you do your things? And because I had to use my accountability guy. I go, you don't have to go check in with someone to say, and it doesn't trigger you to go, okay, sit down and like do my things. Because even for me, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do the things. It's like training for a marathon. You got to do your miles. It's like some days you want to do it and some days you don't.
something I recommend for my clients, and I do this for myself, but not always, but I try to, is I actually keep score. So I will try to have like my list for the week. Like, what do I know I need to get done or want to get done? Sometimes it's recurring stuff like, like actually today, Tuesday is my outreach day. Tuesday is the day I generate my call list for my CRM. I'm like, who am I supposed to call this week? So I have those things, and then I actually keep score in a spreadsheet. And I actually learned this from a methodology book called 12-Week Year by Brian Moran.
Yeah.
And, one of the great things about that, two great things about the scoring. One, that checklist, often I tend to give myself, there's both big things and smaller things. And I know, like, well, if I get a couple of those smaller things done, I can increase my score. So it also gives you, and you're moving forward.
Yeah.
And the scoring also, you can look at it over the course of, I usually do it by 12 weeks. It's a 12-week sprint. And I think, okay, why it gets you to ask a question, why am I consistently below like sort of an ideal score of 85%? Are the goals too big? Are the tasks not well defined? Well, like what are the, so it allows you to be, problem solving with yourself.
I love that. Anyway. I have a guide I use with my clients too that breaks down kind of the activity too. So kind of similar to what you just talked about, where it gamifies like outreach, follow up, new engagement. So it kind of chunks it up into planning on your calendar what those specific, like, as you clear your plate, create it at the time of day that's the best time for you to be in that mind space. Like, I'm a morning person, not afternoon, but some people are more afternoon or, whatever it is. But it's the commitment to doing that stuff. It's just like brushing, like make it be a habit. It's making it be a habit. And so there's a million books about habit making, but it's just knowing that at the end of the day, you're doing something practically positive for your business and you're controlling the outcome you want, which is whether it's new clients or it's growing your existing clients, because the same approach can be applied to your existing clients for enterprise. There's other groups or departments you need to be intentionally getting to know. It's the same approach. So it's just, it's all that.
Lissa, thank you so much. I want to, first of all, let people know how to reach you. So let me grab that. So folks who are here live or watching the recording, they can email you at lissa@cheerfulpersistency.com. And I think we both checked and I did spell that right.
You did.
Lissa, and Lissa with 2 S's.
Lissa with 2 S's, and then on LinkedIn as well, Lissa Blackaby.
Okay, and then LinkedIn is just search her or LinkedIn/in Lissa Blackaby Forsterer. So I hope that lots of people find you this way.
Well, thank you. I thank you so much for having me. I always love our chats around all things biz dev, and like me too. We talk about too. There's not one right way to do agency biz dev, and agencies need different approaches at different times. And so I think there's so many of us that we all bring our special sauce to the table, and depending on what you're needing, like I just know that it also biz dev is hard, especially creative-led agencies. Like, it's just not a natural thing for some owners, and so we're here to support.
Yes. All right, listen, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to have you here. Well, you'll have to come back. We'll talk more about it.
I'd love to part 2 with you anytime.
Thanks, Lissa.